Hi, welcome to Bookie. Today we will unlock the book 1453, The Holy War for Constantinople and the Clash of Islam and the West. At the end of the 2nd century AD, the mighty Roman Empire began to decline. At that time, the empire had fallen into long-term civil disorder, and there had even been periods where several emperors existed simultaneously. In response to this crisis, Diocletian established the First Tetrarchy, and the Roman Empire was able to recover temporarily. However, it soon fell into internal turmoil again. The final champion to emerge from this civil unrest was the prominent Emperor Constantine the Great. In 324 AD, Constantine defeated his last opponent Licinius, and the empire ushered in its long-lost sole ruler. In the same year, Constantine the Great ordered the construction of a new city, which proved to be a magnificent city of monumental scale that was fated to go down in history. In 330, Constantine the Great announced that this city would be the capital, and it was henceforth commonly known as the New Rome. However, the famous city was not only known as the New Rome. Ethnic groups speaking various languages all had their own names for the city. The ancient Greeks called its predecessor Byzantium, and the public named it Constantinople after its founder. From the 10th century on, Turks and Arabs dubbed it Istanbul, meaning into the city. Since its establishment, Constantinople had long served as the sacred center of the Christian world. The city was full of monasteries. There were endless processions of icons on the streets and walls. Monks, nuns, devout citizens, and the emperor planned their daily lives around fasting and prayer. The city had many relics: the skull of John the Baptist, the crown of thorns worn by Jesus before his death, the stone from the tomb, and 1,000 other miracle-working artifacts encased in reliquaries of gold and studded with gems, which were eyed with envy by Christians in the West. Apart from the West's jealousy, Constantinople also had to deal with hostility from the East. The city was at the forefront of a long confrontation between the two closely linked and similar monotheistic religions. It was the Christian world's sturdy fortress against the Islamic world. Different versions of religious beliefs had rivaled each other here for more than 800 years, existing in both war and peace. In 1453 AD, the young Mehmet II set off on a new jihad in the Islamic world. 200,000 Ottoman soldiers participated in the siege, and only 8,000 defenders were left in the dying Constantinople. After several weeks of artillery bombardment, the Byzantine Empire fell completely, the Greeks and Christians in the city were slaughtered, and the Middle Ages came to an end. The final decisive battle, which had lasted for more than 800 years, was vividly and thoroughly depicted in the book 1453, The Holy War for Constantinople and the Clash of Islam and the West. The author Roger Crowley is a well-known British historian. After graduating from the University of Cambridge, Crowley lived in Istanbul for a long time, and he had a keen interest in Turkey's history. Crowley spent several years traveling around the Mediterranean world extensively, which gave him profound historical and geographical knowledge of the region. His famous books 1453, Empires of the Sea, and City of Fortune have been well received by readers. Roger Crowley has collected many historical documents and vividly portrayed both sides of the war and their supreme commanders. In Crowley's book, the historically significant Battle of Constantinople in 1453 was written to be as enjoyable as reading a novel, with all the intricate details carefully arranged. Next, we will review the book throughout the following 3 sections. Part 1, The Byzantine Empire. Part 2, The Ottoman Empire. Part 3, The Fall of Constantinople. First, we must quickly learn about the history of the Byzantine Empire. We mentioned in the shortest history of Europe that in 395 AD, Theodosius I relinquished the eastern part of the empire to his eldest son and the western part to his younger son on his deathbed, which henceforth marked the formal division of the Roman Empire. Less than a century after the split,